What's going on, guys? So this is kind of an off-topic video, but it's one that a lot of people probably struggle with, right? You have a gas-powered piece of equipment and it's been sitting for a pretty long period of time. In the case of this pressure sprayer, this has actually been sitting unused for about 3 years. Mainly because I've been using one of my other pressure sprayers that's electric, and I honestly never felt like pulling this one out and getting it all set up so I could actually use it. But I needed to use it because I needed more strength than the other one had. The other one's like 1500 PSI, and this one's 3000 PSI. It's a rigid. It may not look it, but this was super filthy when I started this project, and my wife got this for me nearly 17 years ago. So this is definitely what I would consider to be one of my older gas-powered pieces of equipment that I've still hung on to, largely for sentimental reasons. But the fact is, I just don't use it very often. And then when it came time to use it, I opened up the fuel cap. The fuel was all varnished up, super nasty. And I'm like, you know what? I gotta do whatever I need to do to get this thing working. And fortunately, it was very, very simple. But I'm gonna walk through a few steps that I did. And this might actually save you some time versus trying to pack this thing up, take it to a small motors shop so they can take it apart and do the exact same thing. Hang tight, I'll be right back. So the first thing I did was I needed to remove all the old varnished fuel out of the fuel tank. And the easiest way to do that was with this little cool gadget right here. This gives me the ability to transfer fuel from whatever I need to transfer it from, as long as there's not a stop or something preventing me from doing it. There's a little switch on top, pumps the fuel, and then feeds it out through here. Much, much quicker and safer than a siphon. You can actually see how nasty that is from the varnished fuel that we removed. I got pretty much all the fuel out. Then I took a paper cloth, I stuffed it down in there to try to absorb the rest of it. And that was essentially the process of cleaning out the tank. Now, the second process was degumming the actual carburetor. So the carburetor's right here, and it's got a little bowl here on the bottom. And I took the screw off, or the bolt off of the bottom here. I removed the shroud right here. This is all really easy to take apart. You basically have two nuts that you remove here, and then you have one in the top right here. The whole air filter assembly comes off, and then you can access the carburetor very, very easily. You can actually see the throttle. You can open it up, the choke, and you can see inside there to see if it was gummed up. It wasn't too bad, but the bowl definitely had some gummed up fuel inside of there, so took that off, cleaned that out. So basically cleaned all that out with Carb Cleaner. It's a spray that you can get from pretty much any automotive store. Get a couple cans of it, just have around the shop. Really, really, really great chemical to have if you need to clean stuff like old fuel out. It's really high pressure coming out of the nozzle, so you can get in there and spray that whole area down. I did not remove the carburetor this time, even though the last time I went through this, I removed the carburetor. This time I didn't think I needed to. Then once I got that cleaned out, I ordered a new air filter, and the new air filter actually came in today. So I installed the air filter in here, and it looks really nice. The other air filter pretty much disintegrated when I took it out. It was in pieces, so that was a well-needed upgrade or replacement. I don't think I put that on straight. Let me straighten the cover up a little bit here. There we go. And that was it. Checked the spark plug. It was totally fine. I checked my oil. It was totally fine. And then after I replaced the fuel inside of it with some fresh ethanol-free fuel inside of the tank, I only put maybe a cup worth in here, not too much. I just wanted to, again, kind of get some fresh fuel going through the system. And lo and behold, I mean, turn the fuel on, turn the power on, and open up the choke a little bit, and that's what you're looking for. So because I plan on using this, I'm not going to let it run the fuel out of the carburetor. I'm going to go ahead and just turn the fuel off, turn the power off at this point. But yeah, it's working perfectly fine. This is a Subaru engine that's on here, and just a really, really reliable platform. And yeah, I'm super excited that it didn't take too much effort to get this thing back up and running. The other thing I did was buy this really cool multi-purpose nozzle for the front of my pressure sprayer. This right here is going to be absolutely awesome. All of the sprayer heads, or the nozzles, are right there. I lost one of them. I have absolutely no idea where it went, but the problem with those is you're always losing them. And honestly, if this thing's sitting for a while, somehow dirt daubers find their way into clogging them up. And the challenge you run into if you have a clogged nozzle is that when you put it on here, this is a quick release coupler, and when you put it on here, if it gets clogged and you don't know it because it has debris or dirt in it, and you go to use it, it builds up so much pressure you oftentimes can't release the collar right here to actually pull the nozzle out. So this is one of those areas that you got to be really, really careful whenever you are putting a nozzle on to make sure that the nozzle is clean and that there's no debris that's built up inside of there that could possibly cause a pressure-related issue to where you have to bleed off pressure before it'll work. Aside from that, I also have a quick release coupler on the other end over there, which is another place you can try to release it. But when these things are under pressure, they're very, very difficult to release, so you do want to keep that in mind. But yeah, very, very cool pressure sprayer. Glad this thing is functioning again. I just wanted to share this video with you because I know there's a lot of folks who will pull a piece of equipment out, whether it's a lawnmower, whether it's a weed eater, whether it's a pressure sprayer, and you find out that the gas is old inside of it, it's varnished, it's not starting up, it's not working. Oftentimes, there are some very easy steps you can take to fix those problems. Sometimes it's replacing the little fuel bubble that you might have on a weed eater. Sometimes it's actually replacing the fuel tank. A lot of fuel tanks can start to rust over time, and that rust can get into the system. And once it does, it gets into your fuel line, gets into your carburetor, and you have to clean all of those components out. The nice thing about these small motors is they're pretty dang easy to work on. You don't really have to take them somewhere. If you have a few tools and you're up to exploring the internal mechanisms and how things work on these things, you can pretty much disassemble the vast majority of these components, clean them up, get them all working again, and repair them with very, very little stress. It doesn't take a heck of a lot of time, and there's a lot of satisfaction when you do it. I love the fact that once we got this thing completely, back together, which wasn't really much, it was essentially just reinstalling the bottom of the carburetor, new fuel or air filter inside of here. It cranked up on 2 poles, which was awesome. And at this point now, because everything is in good shape, I can probably crank it up on 1 pole. Let's see here. So again, very cool. I love the fact that this thing still works. This is one of those items that I can honestly say will probably last a lifetime as long as you take care of it. And I've been trying to clean it up. You can still see there's some cobwebs down there, some areas I didn't get to. I tried to clean most of this up the best I could. Looks a lot nicer than it did, and it actually looks pretty dang new, considering it's like over 15 years old. Anyways, just want to make a quick video on this. Again, don't be afraid to tackle projects yourself. Don't be afraid to pull some tools out. Just be careful, take proper precautions. When you're dealing with fuel, of course, you don't want to be smoking a cigarette or anything around it. You don't want to be putting yourself in a situation to where you could cause a fire or cause some type of major issue. But what you'll find out most of the time is between YouTube, between Google, and all the different forums that are available, you can take on a project that might be more complicated than you originally thought if you simply put some time and effort into doing a little bit of research, taking your time, moving slowly, and making it a fun project, not just a task that you have to complete. Not something that you have to do, but something that you kind of want to do. A project that is going to interest you and something that will help you learn a skill that you may not have had in the past. I think there's way too many kids these days that don't know how to do something as simple as cleaning out a carburetor. I think that is a big miss in our society, and I think this is one area that a lot of dads, a lot of fathers, and a lot of teenagers should take more of an interest in mentoring, as well as just learning the skills themselves to be able to do a small task like this, and then have the satisfaction, joy, and thrill of knowing that you fixed something that wasn't working. And with something like this was super minor. It's not like I had to pull the whole engine apart or anything like that, but this is something that there's so many people who would have looked at it and said, I don't know what's going on. They wouldn't have done the task they needed it for. It would have sat there, and ultimately at the end of the day, they probably would have paid someone else to do what might have taken them 15 to 20 minutes to do if they simply did the research and tried to do it themselves and got their hands a little dirty in the process. Anyways, sure hope you enjoyed this video. This is more of like a motivational video to go out there and try to accomplish tasks yourself. Don't always assume that if something doesn't work that it's broken. assume that something was put together by hand or by people, and that you can probably do the same thing if you just do a little bit of research. Anyways, guys, I sure hope you enjoyed this video. Please take a moment, share a comment below, share a story about a similar situation where you thought something may have been worse than it was, but then you tried to tackle it yourself. I know there's a lot of engineers and mechanics that watch the channel, and I know that their expertise is probably completely disassembling a rocket ship, putting it back together with no problem at all. But there's so many folks out there who are intimidated by small things like this, and I think if you start to dabble in it, you'll realize that you may have more skill and you may have more knowledge built up than you thought, and this is something that can definitely help enhance that and make you feel really good at the same time. Again, leave a story below. Tell me about the first time you took on a project and you had an outcome that really made you feel good. Guys, if you haven't had a chance, take a moment, subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up, and we'll talk to you again very soon.